Welcome to the September Wisconsin Mountain Bike Advocacy Call. With school in session and with NICA in session, I thought it'd be a great pairing to bring a call this month regarding the first race. And I don't know, this year is the second year, so I think there's a lot happening and a lot of growth. So invited Roger Bird on the call today. Roger spent a long time in the cycling industry, and so has a unique background, and also was, I know, interested in starting a team and did. So we'll hear more about that. So for those of you that don't know, the NICA is the National Interscholastic Cycling Association. Their high school mountain biking league started in 2001 in Northern California with the NorCal team. And currently the NICA runs in 14 different states. In 2012, they had 6 states. In 2013, they added 3, so they had 9 states. In 2014, they added 4. So they had 13 states, and this year they have added 1 more to round it off to 14 states. And it looks like if you go to their website, you'll see there's another state coming on in 2016 for now. So I think a lot of the growth this shows, 2012, 13, 14, and it continues to grow into 15, 16. So they must be doing something right. In Wisconsin, we started in 2014. We had 17 teams and 177 students in total. I believe there were 4 races last year. This year there's 5 races. They added a race up in Hayward, which takes place this upcoming weekend. And as I understand it, maybe this is a good segue, Roger, but and the first race at Minooka, I had heard somewhere around 250 kids registered or raced. What says you?
Yeah, I heard, I didn't see the final numbers, but I was told that it was somewhere around 200. I think the actual number of kids in the Wisconsin League that could have raced, that are registered with a team is over 300. But to have the first race of the season, and pull it off with a lot of new teams, a lot of new people, and over 200 racers, I think it was a big success from my vantage point anyway. So it was
Yeah,
great.
Off to a strong start, it sounds like, again.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell me, why did you decide to, and correct me if I put any words in your mouth, but start or lead a NICA team here in 2015?
Yeah, well, there were a few things. First of all, I've had a 30-year love affair with mountain bike racing. I raced myself for a long time, raced at a high level. It's kind of in my heart. The second thing was just a true desire to help make a difference with kids. I've done a lot of different things involving kids and bicycles, and this seemed to be a great opportunity as well. Thirdly, I think the Wisconsin organization has proven itself to be a top-notch run group of people, and it seemed like it was going to be an easy, low barrier of entry process to get involved with them and to do something in our community. And the last thing was, I really had the time and passion to do it. It's in my heart. I had a little bit of time this summer. So in an attempt to kind of keep kids away from video games and realizing that there are some kids out there that are not typical ball sports kids, I decided to start a team. So I think that's probably the high ranking items on the list.
Yeah. So kind of some personal, but then some, not so personal. How have you found working with, in the NICA, I guess, organization or confines, if you will, i.e. hoops, any hoops you had to jump through. I know they've got some, some different levels of coaches and, yeah. So how did you find that and the online stuff, that kind of thing?
It was pretty easy. It's easy to understand at least. They have a very well documented system. They have a very complete set of rules and guidelines for coaches and volunteers. They do have some strict requirements, but I appreciate that. I think kids like structure, and if we're going to be dealing with a bunch of kids and helping them to their lives through the bicycle and then through some life lessons that come along, it seemed to be a great program. I don't really, to be honest with you, I don't deal very much with the NICA organization directly. Kathy and Don in the Wisconsin League, they make it so easy that we don't have to deal with NICA directly very much. I mean, Don has a long history of being a very successful race promoter. Kathy really knows her way around the mountain bike racing scene and has done some coaching herself and works with kids and has a kid in the league. So, really dealing with Kathy and Don, they've really made it so easy to sign up and be a part of it.
Yeah, and then tell us about the team. Is it just you, or is there anybody else helping you out in terms of gosh, all those things that could be done as far as skills and coaching and managers and that kind and the like?
Well, it's just me, and I have 3 or 4 coaches who have been through the certification program with NICA, who, depending on their availability and our need for more coaches, have been a part of this. So, I think on both sides of the fence, the number of kids I have in my program, it's been a little disheartening, but then it's also probably a blessing in disguise, not being overwhelmed with too many kids. So it's been, it's been a pretty good program. It's been an easy startup program, and enough people around to get done what needs to be done. Sure, there's some things that we'd like to do that we don't really have time to do, but those are nice to have, not need to have.
So what's the name of the team, and then where do the kids, kind of what region are you drawing from? What schools or regions, or how do they work that?
Yeah, so they have a pretty, Wisconsin, the Wisconsin League has a pretty well-defined territory map. So our team is called the Monona Grove Composite Youth Mountain Bike Team, and it's comprised of kids from 5 area communities. So we kind of do the southeast side of Madison. So it's Cottage Grove, McFarland, and probably a couple other places you've never heard of. But, there's a team directly to the east of us, directly to the west of us, and north of us. So, it's something that, we get a couple kids from each school district out of 5 different communities. And I think over time it'll grow. And then a lot of these school districts will have to split apart because hopefully we have enough kids for each school district to represent themselves and compete on their own.
Okay. Well, yeah, giving us an idea, I'm curious, on that first day, you're always kind of interested to see who's going to turn up and kind of what the dynamic is as far as kids that are accomplished riders and maybe some that have never ridden and kind of what was the the dynamic for the Monona, or what was the name of your team again?
Monona Grove Composite, yeah.
Okay, the Monona Grove Composite. Yeah. What were the
Yeah. Well, we had 7 kids sign up. Our original kickoff for the beginning of the season was July. So between mid-July and the start of school, so many people are either on vacation or they're just getting ready for school to go back in session. It was really hard to grab some of the kids that originally said they wanted to be a part of it, or for the parents to make time with other sports activities to get the kids in. But, out of those 7 that we had sign up originally, we had probably 4 of the kids were accomplished cyclists. They'd ridden off-road before. Maybe they've done a competition already. They ride on a regular basis, and they're pretty secure and pretty safe when it comes to pedaling their bike down the road. 3 of the 7, I would say were really new riders, and they might have ridden a bike around the neighborhood, but they really have never been off-road much. They haven't raced before, they hadn't competed, and they really didn't spend a lot of time around a bunch of other kids cycling. It was really them and their immediate friends or their immediate family. And then we had 1 kid who had never been off-road before, never had his tires in the dirt, didn't even know what that was all about, didn't know how to use gears, that sort of thing. So it was really a pretty wide mix of skills when it came down. I'm sure that's probably typical of the percentage of kids that you would see join this type of program.
Okay, so it sounds like what, 7 or 8 you've got now?
Yeah, we have 7 right now, 7 active. We're expecting more, but
Yeah.
that's all we have right now.
Yeah, I know I have a couple kids. I have a freshman and a senior, and there's a lot of competition, I think, for sports. My daughter is running this year in cross country, and I know the coach there even, puts in his literature that, if kids are doing other things like, soccer or whatever, they're flexible. But there's just a lot of competition, I think, for sports at this time of year, that is. But give us an idea of like what because how long have you guys been together? Now, has it been a couple weeks, or what has it been, a month? When did you start? And kind of what have you been doing up until now?
We kicked off, like I said, we kicked off our Monona Grove season mid to late July, and we do practices twice a week. We've been doing some general bike handling clinics. We've been doing some race-specific preparation, how to start, how to pace yourself, hydration and eating, if that's an opportunity, longer distances. But I think the practice twice a week's been really good. It's been introducing the kids to some new techniques and some new ways of thinking, and then reinforcing it, when they come back and they're able to practice more of what they've learned. So it's been good. It's been really positive. The kids that, were maybe new to cycling or never raced before and then actually did their first race, I think it did a lot to boost their self-confidence, and most of the kids really surprised themselves with what they were able to do once they got into that competitive arena on the bike. So I think that answers your question.
Yeah, no, and I want to get to the first race, but I also wanted to ask, where, because I did go to the initial, this year's the training session that Trek was kind enough to host earlier in the year. I think it was in June, but I think a lot of people were, a little hesitant if they didn't have the proper facilities to to, like a mountain bike trail system near their house or something that they couldn't really start a team. But I was interested, or I was, to understand that a lot of teams don't necessarily always have trail systems near them that they can go practice at. So they might just go to a park. But where are you guys practicing? What are you doing?
Well, originally we were practicing 3 days a week, just to see what the interest and the schedule was going to be. One day a week we would just practice in our community and literally ride on the or find a parking lot at a school or find, a construction site where people were done working for the day and use some of those type of opportunities to reinforce some of the skills we were trying to teach. I think as adults and most of us kind of lifelong cyclists, we get so wrapped up in, we need elevation and we need single track and we need all this. Well, we really don't. I think when you break it down to its basic elements, you could practice anywhere and a parking lot is just fine. So we were doing that one day a week, and then we were actually going to a local trail system, which is very well developed in areas of difficulty for beginner, intermediate, and expert riders, that sort of thing. And now we just practice at the trail system. It's a little drive for most of our kids, but it's a benefit when you can have, a pretty good representation of what they're going to face out on the race scene. So our trails are a little bit harder than most of the races, it seems. We have a lot of single track. There are some hills. There are some rocks. And it looks like most of the race venues are going to be a little bit more double track, less technical. So, I think if we overthink it, it can get overwhelming or disheartening. But, just start with the basics. And there's a lot you can do in a parking lot. There really is. It's a good thing all the way around.
No, and that does make sense to me. Because as you said, a lot of the skills that you don't need a lot of terrain to really hone down your handling skills and the like, but it's more the cardiovascular that I think is also complemented too within mountain biking. Obviously, you've got those two things kind of working in tandem as your technical skills and then your cardiovascular. But sounds like you're getting that, when you hit the trails, those or wherever your off-road trails are or something. Or do you encourage the kids to run or do something else for cardio?
We haven't really pushed that. It actually didn't come up until our last practice session. I kind of mentioned that we hadn't talked at all about, develop your aerobic system or cardiovascular system. We weren't talking about perceived effort and heart rate and all that. We were just working on pacing and technique. So a lot of body position, being in the right gear, braking effectively, body position for climbing and descending, that sort of thing. So I think a lot of kids pick up on the fact that if they're active, that'll help cross over into the mountain bike thing. But, it seems like it's more important to work on the skills first, because not only does it make it safer, but it makes it more fun. If the kid can go into a long, steep climb in the right gear and the right body position and kind of pace himself up the hill, at the end of the day, he's going to enjoy it a lot more. And for us, it's all about safety and fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we race, but it's not about winning. It's about the challenge and the teamwork part of things.
Yeah, and I think the way you put it makes sense too. I mean, you've been racing for a long time at a high level. I mean, it probably took you years to master a lot of these things. So you've got to take it kind of day by day, step by step, and there's a lot to learn there. So, it's going to take a little while, but no, that's good to know. And then how did that first race go at Manuka, and what did the kids take away from that first event?
It was great. It was a very festive atmosphere. It was a good team atmosphere. It was a good family atmosphere. I think what they took away was, for the kids that had never raced before, it surprised them a little bit, and it ended up being a little bit harder than they thought. And I think when you throw a kid into a bike race situation, they really do surprise themselves how hard they can push it and how much discomfort they can feel and be okay with it versus, once they get hot or the hill around the neighborhood, they want to slow down or get off. Like I said before, I think most kids surprise themselves. I think it really helps boost their self-confidence. One of the kids that joined our team, he said right away, the first time I ever met him, he said, "I don't want to race. That's not why I'm here." And the minute we started talking about racing and we have jerseys made up for our team, he just immediately wanted to do it, and he just loved it. So it was just super positive. It really it boosted my place in the world, and it kind of backed up the fact that I was doing something right for others, and being part of it. It kind of made some of that hard work worthwhile. So it was a ton of fun. It really was, start to finish. Good communication, everything. All expectations were met. Nothing was missed. Nothing was late. It was a top-notch thing.
Oh, that's great. Sounds like couldn't have gone any better for that first event.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Well, good. Well, thanks for starting a team and taking that leadership role, because I think, myself included, we all have a lot on our plates with our, daily lives, and to do this, it's really a selfless thing. So, but, there's just something, we all know it, that anybody that's a mountain biker, there's just something special about being in the woods, and, and so to try to lend that and let others experience that is a really unique thing that, sometimes don't always have that opportunity. But not sure how many people are on the call, but I guess now if we wanted to open up any questions, let's see if anyone is interested. Otherwise, we'll see where we go. Anyone interested, or anyone have a question for Roger? Okay, well, as I said,
it doesn't sound like it, but I'll just make one more statement.
Yeah.
Like you, I have 3 kids, 2 kids in middle school and 1 kid in high school. And I wanted them to experience a little bit more structure and a little better program than just me trying to tell them what to do. And, I think for the kids that don't experience mountain biking or mountain bike racing until they're older, I think most of us can look back over our lives and say, boy, I wish I would have started when I was younger. As long as it's fun, and as long as it's safe. And, I figured if I didn't do it, nobody else in my community was going to step up. So I decided to do it, and I'm very happy I did.
Well, then I got to ask you, I didn't know you had 3 kids. Are any of them participating in the Monona Grove Composite?
Yep, they're all on the team. 2 of them went with us to the first race, but they both decided not to sign up and race because they didn't want to be pushed.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to push them. And immediately when the gun went off, both of them were standing there saying, "Oh my gosh, why didn't I do this?" So all 3 of them are going to Hayward this weekend, and all 3 of them have already signed up, and it'll be a ton of fun for sure. I know it.
That's a great story, Roger. Well, I think that's a good one to end on. So, how many times can we recount something like that with our kids? Where that's a great thing, as a parent to just have the patience to kind of wait it out and see what chord strikes with them. It sounds like in this case, your patience paid off. So, good for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Thank you.
I mean, in
Thanks
my
for the time today and having me included.
yeah. So okay, best of success in the rest of the season, and yeah, thanks again.